Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we will be starting our new series, I Married a Narcissist. Now what? So go get that favorite blanket again and a cup of coffee, and we will get started. The word narcissism could be explained as human nature. At the very core of our humanity is this self-absorption. We all have it. Not one of us is immune to it. We all have a need or desire to be in control, and we can be opinionated. We can sometimes live behind our false self. We want to be superior over other individuals. Sometimes we really don't show a lot of empathy towards others, and all of that is what we refer to as, you guessed it, narcissism. Healthy people see that in themselves. That doesn't mean you have a void, but it means you see it and then you can do something about it. You're able to correct it. You're able to own it and to be honest about it. And then you're able to move in a much better direction. See, unhealthy people, they either don't see it or they rationalize it or they dress it up in all kinds of unhealthy kinds of ways. Not only do they continue on in that control of mindset, but they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. This can infiltrate families, jobs, and beyond. When we talk about narcissism, we are talking about something that each of us can personally relate to, but then the unhealthy person says either, I don't recognize it, or that's you, not me. And then they are the problematic ones. Our culture is changing a bit in their view of marriage over the last 50 years or so. Before, marriage was sort of something that you did, but it wasn't your everything. We've elevated marriage to be, you're going to be my soulmate, and you're going to meet all my needs. Now, there is this romanticizing and this elevation of marriage where I think a lot of women are disappointed now in their marriage where they might not have been disappointed before. But when they're married to a narcissist, they are extremely crushed. Whereas before, maybe they would have just hung out with their friends, they would have just done other things. They would have just lived their life without the expectation of being treated differently. In today's culture, we do have an expectation, whether we are a person of color or different economic status, that we should be treated with dignity and respect. Regardless of those things where that might not have happened before. And so I think women are saying, hey, I don't think God wants me to be treated this way anymore. Or, I don't think God ever wanted me to be treated this way. And I'm not willing to continue to put up with this. So what do you do to fix this? And that's a great question, as long as the narcissist is willing to look at himself. But as I've said before, that person who is really entrenched in narcissism is blind to their own self. We were created for connection. And that narcissism, no matter how you label it, it's actually very destructive to creating connection with people because they are in hiding. Narcissist, one that's on the high scale, is going to be very surface level. They're going to be very aggressive in some way, whether it's covertly or outrightly. Aggressive, but it's about managing their own narrative, the narrative of their own life. The stories of the people around them. No one can connect to that because it's not authenticity. And so boiling narcissism down to pride even, doing what's right in one's eyes, to hide, to stay safe, to get what they want, does not build relationships. Again, that does not build relationships. So at the end of the day, that's what's going to hurt them the most, because we are created for relationship and we experience God in the context of relationships. So without that, we are alone, we live in fear, we are in hiding, and we are not living the kind of life that God has written on our hearts for it to be, or for it to look like. So, what do you think? Does any of this sound familiar? What are your next steps going to be? Well, I hope you've enjoyed tonight. It's going to be a really good series. I know it can be scary to hear and to see, but change can happen. So what choice will you make? I hope you all have a great rest of the night, and come back tomorrow night at 7 for part 2 of So I Married a Narcissist. Now what? Be encouraged.